Welcome to the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection webinar. Please note, any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat. For those seeking business license assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center here at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business license can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn more about this program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. This webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/Chicago BACP. We'd like to encourage all our attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of this presentation. Please note that the views and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and does not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. At this time, I will now introduce you to Ms. Princess for us to begin today's webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to start here. All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Princess Gentry. I am the interim director for our Small Business Development Center at YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. And this workshop is Entrepreneurship. It truly takes a village. It's going to be presented by myself and my colleague, Cheryl Hudson-Jackson, the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. Again, here we are. And Cheryl Hudson-Jackson is the director of franchise, and business enterprise. Cheryl, would you like to say a few words before we get started?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to get together with you this afternoon. I hope that you will be able to take away some really great tips to enhance your business. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it back over to Princess as we get started with today's presentation.
Awesome, great. So we're going to start off with the purpose of this workshop here. Please feel free, if you have any questions, please place them in the chat and we will get to those. So please come with an open mind and think of all those questions you have for your business, even those that you didn't think of. Think of us as your support system to help you with your business. So the purpose of this program is to give you the tools to pursue a business of your own, or to enhance your business if you already have a business. So we don't want to leave you out, either those who already have a business, because we're here for you too. We want to enhance your understanding of how these tools apply to your present work environment. So that could be entrepreneur, you're already in your, you already have a present job, but you're looking to step out on faith, as I like to call it, and start your business. That's what we're here for. So these are the 5 keys that we like to talk about at the YWCA that we know that you need to start a business. So we want to start with legal entity. So we know that there's sole proprietorship, you have your LLC, you have your C corporation, and those things of that nature. You have your nonprofits, you have those. So being able to pick one of those is very important. So being able to pick which one that you want. And so once you have a one-on-one with us, we'll be able to go through those and explain each of those to you. You definitely want to have a business plan. So a business plan is the book or the foundation, as I like to call it, for your business. So you want to be able to have a foundation of where you're going with your business, and that's what your business plan is doing. If you need help with that, again, shameless plug, the Small Business Development Center will be able to help you with that, and all of our business advisors will be able to assist you with that as well. Let's just say you have a business plan already, but you want to do some different things. Talk to us and we'll be able to help you with those. So you may want to change your executive summary, or your budget is changing, right? That's important. We have to pivot. It's been a pandemic, and so we have to pivot of what that looks like in your business plan. So your business plan may change a couple of times, right? So you may need to look at your business plan every 5 years to see what's different, to make sure that you're staying on top of trends, to make sure that you're doing your customers, your target market may change. So you may need to pivot of who you're targeting within your business. The next one we want to talk about is your business bank account, which is so important, everyone, because we don't want to mix personal and business funds together. It's so important to make sure that you have a business bank account. So the good thing that I like to tell you about your business bank account, don't just look at one bank, compare banks so that you can see which one is going to offer you the biggest bang for your buck, right? You may want to start with who you already have a business bank, who you already have a personal bank account with, because you've already have an established relationship. So start there first, but make sure you have a business bank account. If you don't know how to do that, we can assist you with that as well. The next thing is to have a website or a web presence. So you want to make sure people know how to find you, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram. You want to have some sort of web presence so people know how to find you. So one of the things that I like to tell my clients is some of the new and trendy places that I found were on Instagram, right? So a lot of people may not go to websites anymore, right? Because they can go to social media and they can find folks. So it's really important that you have some type of web presence, whatever platform it's on, and be able to showcase your business. So whether you're showing and you have a boutique and you want to show off your clothes, you can create a lookbook to show folks how to put those things together, because not a lot of people know how to put different colors together, and you can show your creativity on your social media platforms. Even if you do food, you can show folks how to cook, right? Give a mini session to get folks to see what you're doing, how you cook your food, whether it's healthy for them, or give them different options to do for their food and prepare for their families. You can encourage people, those things that get you through the day in your business. Share that with other folks, because you never know who's looking at your page. It could be another business owner who's trying to get out there and they need to see your encouragement. That's a form of networking as well. So you never know what heights it may take you. So you want to have that website or web presence. And then lastly, you want to make sure you have an EIN number, and that's super easy. You can get it on the website. You can apply for it online at irs.gov to get your EIN number to make sure that you are official. Some of the other things that we like to consider is a Duns and Bradstreet number, especially if you're looking to do government jobs or government assistance. You want to make sure you have a Duns number as well as a STAMPS number, which is all for government or federal business. And then those who don't have a Social Security number, you're still able to get a business with an ITIN. Okay? So then here we have some questions for you to consider. When you're thinking about starting a business, these are some of the questions that I want you to think about. So what are you interested in? What gets your juices flowing? What's your passion? Is it cooking every Sunday at the church? Is it taking care of your nieces and nephews? Do you want to start a daycare business? Is that something that you want to do? Kind of do the pros and cons of what you want to do so that you can have it laid out and see, is it something that you really have the time for? Second question we want you to think about is, what do you have to offer? What can you offer that's different than what the market is missing right now? Think about that. So this is where your creativity comes in. This is where your personality comes in, and say, you know what, this is what's missing. It's customer service, or it's that personal touch that I know that I can offer that'll be able to take this from a certain level to 1,000, right? Being able to think about that. And again, putting in your pros and cons of what you're able to do and how you can deliver on that. The third question I want you to think about is, what are the current market and consumer trends? So let's take daycare, for example. When you're looking at that, is there enough children in your area to do a daycare, right? What's the current market in your area to do a daycare? Is there enough children that's in your daycare? What's the trend that's going in your area to see if there are more daycares happening? Another way to do that is going to your local places to see what's going on, what's coming up, what other businesses are upcoming in the area. Then thinking about who's your competition. So not only thinking about those big competitors, if you're a restaurant, but thinking about those local folks too, because those are your competitors as well. And thinking about all of those different things will be able to help you to prepare for entrepreneurship. And then lastly, the question is, do you understand your interested industry? Do you understand how it works? Do you understand the ins and outs? What are the budgets? How much is it going to cost you to be in this industry? Let's say if you were doing a franchise, how much does it cost you to start your franchise? What else is involved in that? One of the things that I saw on TikTok, they were talking about a Chick-Fil-A franchise. And so did you know that it only costs $10,000 to become a Chick-Fil-A franchise? They help you with everything. The brick and mortar, they help you with the equipment, but it's really competitive to become a franchise of Chick-fil-A. They have 60,000 applicants every year to become a Chick-fil-A franchise. So being able to understand those little things, yes, I have the money, but is my application strong enough to get through those 60,000 applicants? So thinking about those things, what's in the industry, are you going to be able to do that? How are you going to employ folks and things like that is what we want you to think about starting to get into entrepreneurship. So then lastly, you want to think about challenges. So what are those challenges, right? So starting a business while working, life, dream balance. Do you have small children? Do you have children that you have to attend to? Are you going to be able to fund your business if you don't get a grant, right? Are you in a position to take out a loan? Thinking about those different things when you're starting your business. Can you operate your business solely by yourself? The majority of entrepreneurs are solopreneurs. So would you be able to run your business solely by yourself? Then there's a high focus on the product and service, but not on the reality and response to product. So are you taking that data and saying, well, I have this shirt, this in my boutique, but it's not selling, right? Looking at what's selling in your boutique, what's not selling, or I have a product that everybody's not so keen on. So do I pivot, right? So thinking about that, having little familiarity with target market. You don't really know who's your target. You want to sell to everybody. Everybody may not be interested in your product. So you may have to narrow down who's the person or people that you're trying to sell to. Your financial projections are unrealistic. So it could be that my goal is I'm gonna make $1 million within the first year, right? But not having that budget to back it up, not thinking that equipment is gonna be $100,000, or that you may need to have another exit in your basement if you're starting a daycare center. So then now all of this money is coming out and is dwindling down on that $1 million goal for the first year. So making sure you have that budget to make sure that your financial projections are realistic. Unrealistic growth projections. So being able to say, I want to grow within The second year, what does that look like? Have you taken into account that you have to pay employees or bring on someone? That also goes into your bottom line as well. So thinking about what's my realistic, how many people can I bring on? Or I've made this amount of money and now I want to start another site. That may not be something that you can do, being that this new site doesn't have all the things that you need. So again, going back to those financial projections, what does that look like to open up another site? High reliance on specialty software, hardware, engineering, having one large client, one supplier, and eggs in one basket syndrome. So you're relying solely on, it may be QuickBooks, right? Only having that one software to make sure that your financial projections or everything is accounted for, or having one type of software where your curriculum is if you're doing a daycare. So you don't want to count your eggs before they hatch, right? So you want to be very deliberate in how you plan out your business so that you don't have the eggs in one basket syndrome. So starting a business while working, work-life dream balance.
Which actually ends up being my side of the house. So hi, everybody. Again, I'm Cheryl Hudson-Jackson. I'm the Director of Franchise and Business Enterprise. So thank you, Princess, because this was a really good basis for me to be able to talk about this piece. So one of the things that we talk about with entrepreneurship being definitely something that takes a village, it really does talk about starting a business being different than just working for someone else. Starting a business is actually stepping out on all sorts of faith and talents and ideas that you have. But starting a business also requires everyone in your world, your circle, to be engaged in this process. So let's say you want to open up a cupcake shop. That's great. But that's going to be your new replacement stream of income. Prior to you deciding to do that, there's got to be a discussion with, if you're married or have a roommate or anyone else that depends on your already established steady income from your other job, that, you know, sometimes you might not sell a cupcake. So there are days that you potentially might not have revenue, and inevitably you will have bills that need to be paid. So when you think about doing a business, you really have to look at the effects of what that's going to have on people you live with and support. It's a concept of a work-life balance. So then the other side of that is, well, okay, I'm going to start this cupcake business as a side hustle, my weekend job. Well, you know what? That's not a bad way to go. That still requires you to balance your life, because if your weekends were devoted to your family or to your church or some other entity, how are you going to balance that? Starting a business is a very brave and lonely endeavor, especially because if you're working on starting a business and everyone in your community, your tribe, your village are regular worker bees that subscribe to the 9 to 5 and then have their Saturdays and Sundays off. When you build a business, it's like your baby. You're connected to it all the time. From the time that you put it on paper and then start talking about it and having it have legs, meaning that you figured out exactly what it is that you're going to bring to market, what the purpose of it being, who it's going to serve, and inevitably, if it's still the cupcakes again, where are you making the cupcakes? Who are you selling them to? How do you market it? And all of those things that go into building this business requires all of your time. And sometimes it can be very frustrating, it can be very challenging, and it could be in a position in which you go, you know what, I don't know what I was thinking. Let me go back and get my other job back. The point is, it's worth it, but you have to recognize that it requires you to think it through, because you'll still have to pay your rent or your mortgage. You'll still have to pay your car note. You'll still have to pay your utilities. You still have to eat. And I'm still subscribing to everybody should have a little fun to look forward to once a week. Actually, I subscribe to, you should have something to look forward to every day, be it if it's nothing, but after you get through working a hard day, finding something nonsensical on TV and just sitting there and laughing your heart out. You need to see joy in your day. And potentially this business could be that joy for you. But sometimes, considering the ups and downs and the twists and turns, you just have to be able to balance that so that you continue to see it as a joyful, beneficial, and profitable experience. So again, starting a business while working, or the work-life dream balance, is very important. And I advise a lot of our clients to put it on paper. Because when you put it on paper, it seems to have some finiteness to it, right? And you go back and revisit where you were so that you don't get lost and get off track. Because it's easy to do that, by the by, when you start a business. So the next slide would just show you, balance, family, future, career. Notice when you put those words in a stacked series, life is in the middle of it. You have to live. So I don't often say to people that everyone can be an entrepreneur, because they can't. It takes a certain kind of energy, focus, and commitment. And oftentimes, if you want to be an entrepreneur, but you have a big demand from your family, you can still build that model, that vision board to start your business at a later time, where you have the time and energy to give your business the focus that it needs. I referenced this before. It's like having a baby. You have to stay focused. You have to raise it. You've got to pamper it. You have to feed it. And if in fact you have not that bandwidth to do that right now, doesn't mean that you can't do it in the future. But the question you need to ask yourself is, how much energy, focus, and commitment could you muster up to have a business? Those are real attributes that you have to have. You've got to have grit, determination, and the ability to be creative. So Princess was talking to us about high focus on the products and services, but not on the reality and response of the product. I have to tell you that we have coached people in our organization on businesses, and I have interfaced with many individuals in my consulting career around not having a reality check on their offering to the market. Just because your aunt told you that your chocolate chip cookie is spectacular does not necessarily mean that you will be the next famous Amos. So the focus on the product can't just be because someone said your cookie is good, but the focus on this business is really about how can your cookie stand up to the competition, and how will you enter it into the market so it actually can survive. The reality is that probably everyone on this call can do something pretty spectacularly, or they have an idea that they think is pretty sound. That's fantastic, but that's just the first part. You got to vet that one out and see how it's going to stand in the system of products that are out there that would be your competition. Now you might say, hey, Cheryl, look, what I've got is not even on the market yet. Well, now there then becomes another question. So what's the reality of that your product would get enough traction and attention that it could make you a profit? For instance, when we were going through the most intense moments of COVID, there was an inventor that came out with a door hook. I think many of you have probably seen them. But in the beginning, people looked at that invention and said, well, I can put on plastic gloves and open up a door. Or I can get a paper towel and open up a door. they didn't see the utility for this particular product. But the product actually wasn't just for the norm. It actually had some real utility, especially for those who were disabled, and being able to open up doors and not find themselves completely lathered with germs from everyone because they had to use their hands not only on the knob, but on the door itself and on the rim itself. This particular product was allowing them to be able to more germ-free and therefore less likely to catch COVID than the mainstream. And so it was important for that inventor to really talk about, he saw utility in the mainstream, but the focus of his clientele were those who had more trouble being able to open up doors and would find themselves in more peril to become in contact with COVID. Now, that's a product now that has a reality and a response that makes sense. I'm actually putting you in a position to think about right now, if you are presently creating something or have a service, when you started that business, it probably was because you had an interest and you thought it was cool and it got vindicated by others, either your family or friends. But you had to really do the investigation in order for it to be taken to market. And I bet you did a little pivoting on how you shined it up before you actually put it on the market. And that's looking at the reality and the response of how that product was ever going to make it in a marketplace. So the next slide will kind of give you a picture of that. Not everything needs protein. So I'll give you this as an example. You know, as you get if you get old at a certain age, as you get older, honestly, you lose a muscle mass. And so it is important for a lot of seniors to have more protein in their diet and use light weights to be able to maintain the muscle mass that they have, because it's very easy for it to atrophy and inevitably you to have like loose skin and you know, you're not as tight and as great looking as, you know, those who are 18, 20, 30, somewhere around, and I'm, you know, and I can talk to it because I am over 60, and somewhere around mid 50s, everything just starts to jiggle and fall apart. So essentially, you know, your dietitian says, yeah, you need to have more protein in your diet. So these bars I cracked up when they came to market, because the argument here is, when you look at all of these, when you look at a Snickers bar and a Mars bar and a Milky Way and a Bounty bar, you're really looking at them as joyful treats. They're your 3 o'clock go-to when you're about to tank at your desk. They're that special treat you have when you're stuck in traffic and you got it in your car to keep you sane so you won't be so mad at the guy that cut you off in front while you're driving on the Dan Ryan. They are the treat that when you're supposed to be on a little weight loss diet that you just hide in your nightstand because you said, you know what, I was good all day. Let me have this Snickers while I watch my favorite housewife show. Anything to bring you joy. So these bars represent joy. You throw protein in it, you kind of go, not so joyful. Because what that reminds you of is that you should eat better and that you should be taking care of yourself. And these bars are kind of your guilty pleasure, that sinful treat. So honestly, when you put those on the market, they're kind of like, well, you got more fat than you have protein. Why would I really eat this? Don't you kind of cancel yourself out? If I really want a protein bar, why would I go to something made by Gatorade or all the other electrolyte companies that try to make great protein drinks and electrolyte drinks to replenish your body after you work out? You're not necessarily going to go for a Milky Way bar. That's not what I would go through if I was working out. Well, let me think about that. If I think I worked out really, really, really hard, then the Milky Way would be my treat, but then it would be counterproductive because I think that I would have literally eaten back on the calories I just thought I lost. This whole example is just to say that sometimes, if you are a person who thinks that you want to bring protein to the market to be able to compete with everybody else, a candy bar is not necessarily the best idea of being able to make that happen. Though it is sweet, though it's something that you do know, and quite frankly, it's cool because it's got brand recognition, so you don't have to work on the marketing that hard. But it is the context of most people, when they think of protein, they're looking at something that's much more healthier for them and not necessarily a candy bar, which they identify with as a guilty pleasure. So that's just giving you an example of not realistically going to really hold out in the market. And oh, by the way, ask yourself, when you were at the last Shell station paying for your gasoline and you were looking in the impulse area, did you see a bunch of protein bars down there? And if you did, they probably were not one sold. They're probably in the original container, because that is not what people want. Not in this market. Thanks, Princess. All right, so the next concept is being familiar with your target market. Oftentimes, which I find funny, is that people will come with an idea and think everybody's going to want it. Yeah, well, and how this works, because you come up with this idea, right? And you sit around with your friends and you tell them about the idea, and they don't want to hurt your feelings, though they might think it's a little odd. They'll go, oh, well, that's an interesting idea. You really, oh, okay, that sounds like you might be able to make that happen. Translation in that is like, first of all, I don't know what you're talking about. And, oh, okay, well, I don't know if I buy it, but you're my friend, so I'm going to support you. Well, the concept here is that anytime you're bringing any product to market, you really got to know not only who you're selling it to, but you need to understand the market itself. Chocolate chip cookies are a very hard, saturated market, by the by. Now I'll stay with that one for a second. You could do so many different variations with chocolate chip cookies, but here's the real deal. For the market that is out there for specialty gourmet cookies, there are about, in the Chicagoland area, there's about 9 that I can think of that are specialty cookies. And I laugh because there's one specialty cookie maker that continues to be the one that people go to, regardless of the fact that they don't taste as good as they used to. And that would be Archway. Archway was the first cookie of the 60s and 70s that gave you the simulation of a homemade cookie taste that you could mass market and give and take home and pretend that you made it. Nowadays, there are many competitors. Not only are they in Jewel or Mariano's, but of course, if you go to Whole Foods, everybody's making a cookie, and it's either got the organic chocolate or the organic or Tahitian vanilla. It's got all these nuances. Everybody wants to make their cookie just a little bit more special, so that you then will be able to be tempted to buy it. But the end game is a very saturated market. So for you to be able to do a chocolate chip cookie, you have to decide who you're going after. Is it the child, or is it the gourmand that you're going after? Who is the person that you want to buy your cookies? And how often do they buy cookies? And how much will they pay for those cookies? And what is the shelf life of this cookie so that they can be attractive to this person? So you have to do all of that detail so that you're not investing your time and energy in a product that will go absolutely nowhere. Now, don't get me wrong. I am a fan of a chocolate chip cookie. And any of you all that are listening that do one that's really fantastic, you'll see my email at the end. You can send it on my way. But the end game is you got to find a whole lot of me's. And I got to tell you, there are a lot of me's out there with a very discerning taste and like the same thing all the time. So you're going to have to give them some samples. You're going to have to tell them why they need it. You're going to have to appeal to their sensibility. So a prime example of how that works is that oftentimes you will find, and I remember this a lot. I haven't been in a food court in forever because COVID kind of knocked that out. But I remember when you would go to the food court and you would go over and there would be this Asian wok restaurant. And the reason why you'd go over there is because they would cut up there was a kind of a sweet and sour chicken or chicken pieces that they would have.
Chicken.
That's it. That doggone bourbon chicken had everybody just hooked. And they would have individuals walk in the food court with the little trays. So you were feeling like, wow, first of all, I've got a person who wants to serve me. And oh, look how cute these little chicken bites are on this little toothpick. And oh my God, they're tasty. And where are you located? And literally that experience shifted people from going to Sbarro's Pizza, because they're always on one end, and then the Taco Bell is on the other end, and then everything in the middle would always be something extraordinary, an extraordinary food chain that you've never heard of before, right? But that place would always be able to get more people changing their mind about what they wanted simply because they were out there introducing people to their product and targeting the market of those who are hungry that might not just always want a McDonald's burger. So there you have it. And my picture of that is understanding your product mix. So in the concept here is that you want to know what your product is, you need to price it appropriately, you need to be able to find a place for it to live, and you have to be able to promote it appropriately so that all of those together create the target market. So again, the bourbon chicken, product's really good, price is competitive to every food vendor in the food court. You're in the right place in the promotion. The food spoke for itself. So they understood that their target market would be anybody entering the food court because everyone's hungry. And therefore, giving them something that would be different than the number 2 at McDonald's, which is the cheeseburger medium fry Coke, to the Taco Bell number 2, which is at 2 crispy tacos and a drink. And then the number 2 at Sbarro is the regular slice. So apparently I eat too much. The fact that I can give you menu information, but my point is that having them come to you and say, I have something different and you're going to like it, and they serve you, they've already set you up for to reel you in, because who's serving you a McDonald's cheeseburger in the food court other than no one? There you have it. So this is how you set yourself apart, understanding your product, being competitively priced, in the right place at the right time, having a really good marketing and promotion idea, and then sweet spot in the middle. It gets to your target market. Next slide, please. Okay, here we go. I howl at this because everyone believes that whatever they're gonna make, literally next week, they're going to be on the lifestyles of the rich and famous, or they're going to be balling with the housewives of Dubai. You are not going to have that moment, quite frankly, in the beginning, unless you have a product that is just unheard of. And there are some products that literally hit the market and went absolutely bonkers. One that did that, which you guys are going to crack up, Chia Pet products. Folks love the Chia Pet products, from the one that had the Obama Chia Pet head, to the frog, to I had no idea, and honestly didn't ever own one, by the by, but that is a product that once it came out, I think because it was so corny and so kind of cool, and it was a novel, and everybody was in the marvel of how quickly does the little Chia Pet grass grows out there. I mean, people bought that out of pure curiosity. It wasn't that they really wanted one. They just wanted to know if they watered it, did it do exactly what it did on the TV? That is a product that unrealistically shot past their projections. Who knows what people want or will desire? But one thing is for sure, your financial projections should be based upon the truth of how you can bring your product to market. What does that mean? So from the ingredients to making that chocolate chip cookie, to the electricity that makes it, to the packaging, to the marketing, to the actual operational dollars and cents per hour for you to do it, all of those dollars and cents create the actual price point for that product unless you do it to scale, which means that 9 cookies can pay for 1 helper in the kitchen on a part-time basis per hour. You need to understand all your expenses to do your financial projections to determine what's the landing price for sweet spot of breaking even and then going on to make a profit. There's individuals who will price things and they have absolutely no idea all the expenses that go along to bring it, and they underprice themselves, and they inevitably price themselves right out. They underprice themselves such that their businesses go under because they never can make the revenue to be able to at least invest back in their business, let alone to be able to make a profit. And then on the other side, you might think that your cookies are made out of gold and therefore believe that it should only be sold to individuals who have a net worth of $1.5 million. Well, you know, at that point, I'm quite sure they probably have a chef that could probably taste your cookie and replicate it in their kitchen. So you have to be very mindful of your financial projections being realistic based upon what it takes to bring it to market, what you think your first debut will be to individuals who would actually like your product, and the likelihood that it has the ability to be repurchased, and how many times would it be purchased by those you think actually would buy the product. I mean, it is a numbers game, but it's an important one because it will allow you to price yourself in a market where you have a fighting chance to make a profit. Next slide, please. So look at John Doe. You know, John Doe's got credit cards. John Doe's got all sorts of things, gas, internet bills, et cetera, et cetera. Everything is running at a deficit. He has $118 as his grand total, because as he gets through trying to take care of his bank accounts, his credit cards around the business, you know, the landlord, et cetera, he's got some deficits everywhere. The end game here is that, and I want to go back to this, very, very important. In that first slide that Princess took you through on talking to you about the 5 business basics, one of the things I want to make sure everybody understands, when you are an LLC, it protects you. You are no longer, then whatever happens to you, your livelihood, your personal livelihood is not in peril. And being able to have a business bank account and separate your money of your personal dollars from your business dollars, it's very important, because it gives you a very clear view of exactly the expenses and the profits that are happening in your business. When you take it and put it in your bank account with all other financial experiences that have everything to do with your business, with your personal life, you muddy the water, and you're not able to really understand the true healthiness of your business. So that's why it's so important to be able to separate church and state. You have to separate yourself from your business so you can see if your business has a fighting chance to make it beyond what we consider the first 36 months of the trial and error. Honestly, most businesses take a downturn in 3 years. Some of them might not even make it there. If you get to your 5th year, you really are showing some pretty healthy growth. You've got a fighting chance to really take it to the next level. But it is very important to understand your finances. And mixing them up, it's not smart. So please, if you are a business owner and right now you're putting your money in your personal business account, I would really strongly encourage you to go ahead and open up a business account at your bank so that you can see the true healthiness, financial healthiness of your business. Thanks, Princess. Next up, unrealistic growth projections. Well, this one's a good one. Going back to my chocolate chip cookies. So you get the best cookie in the world. And here is where you think you're doing some things. You took the cookies into the bakery department of Jewel. The manager of the bakery department said, "This is probably one of the best chocolate chip cookies I've had. How many cookies can you provide me? I'd like to test this in this store." And if it does really well, then I will make sure that the other managers of the bakeries of the other jewels in the area are turned on to your product, and hopefully they might pick you up as well. Well, what you heard is, I'm going to be at this jewel, and he's going to tell his friends that I'm going to be at the next jewel. So that means that literally I'm going to be at every jewel in Chicago by September. That's what you heard. That's not what they said, but that's what you heard, because you're so excited and so confident that this cookie is going to be the next thing out there. Matter of fact, people are going to just go and look at Famous Amos in the little container and go, I'm going over there to get that cookie, because it's not that, your cookie is not as good as this cookie. Well, here then becomes the problem. You go back home and you start doing your quarterly projections, and you heard this conversation. All of a sudden, you're thinking, well, you know, I'm thinking I'm going to have to make more cookies. So I'm going to have to staff up. I'm going to have to get more kitchen time. I'm going to have to do, and so all of the multipliers of your investment into this cookie hinged upon this cooking being successful in one jewel could literally put you out of business. You have to be very mindful about your growth projections. Now, on the other side, you could have something that's so spectacular and you actually underestimate and you go out of business. And I'll give you a great example. I used to have an intimate apparel business a long time ago, and I actually did some coaching while I was doing the intimate apparel business with Industry 212 and a couple of other industry shows in New York and Las Vegas. And when I was in New York doing a buy for my store, I ran into this lingerie maker that I had remembered. Hadn't seen her in a while, but I had remembered her debut on Oprah, because she was part of Oprah's favorite things. And then all of a sudden I didn't see her ever again for about 2 or 3 years. And then she was back on the scene. Oprah had her on the show, and her pajamas were absolutely beautiful. Everybody was oohing and ahhing about these pajamas. The woman could not keep up with the Oprah effect. It was so catastrophic for her. She shut her business down and almost had a nervous breakdown. So it goes both ways. You can either think you are going to be sensational and yet you get crickets because your cookie didn't take off as well as you thought it was as a test at Jewel, and now you're left with a gazillion cookies. Or you could have something where you think that it's going to be a modest buy and not projecting that the O effect, and inevitably find yourself having so many people want your things and you can't provide it, that it becomes literally heartbreaking and potentially a mental breakdown issue for you. So you've got to be very deliberate about your projections, and how you know it is by doing great cost analysis of what the market will bear and how you think, and then exponentially how you would ratchet it up such that you can contain the cost even if they buy it or don't. And the next picture that represents that is this. When you are thinking about doing all the things that I have shared with you, all of these things on your tree are very critical. From the idea that you come up with and the goals of where it's supposed to go, to how it will perform in the market and the kind of strategies that you have to create opportunities, and understanding the competition and how it then will perform against sales, and how your customer will actually respond to what you bring to the market, and how you build a good operational infrastructure team to support the plan, to support the business as a whole, will then yield to success. Next slide. All righty. High resilience on specialty software, hardware, engineering, one large client, one supplier, eggs in one basket syndrome. So let me just tell you, if you end up in having, and I'm going to use the service business, if you are a fantastic consultant and you've got an opportunity to land one client that ends up having, I will use a better example. So I will hope that there are adults on this call, because that's kind of like how I'm going to put that. When I was in the intimate apparel business, the intimate apparel would actually be used by everyone, ladies, and specifically, it could be used for entertainment wear. And you know where I'm going. I happen to be in Atlanta at an adult entertainment facility to have a conversation with some of the individuals who would use lingerie as a part of their costume. Are you following my story here? And so I had an opportunity to talk to these lovely ladies after their show to talk about the kinds of intimate apparel that I could provide for them that would help them in their performance. And come to find out that this particular facility had 5 entertainment facilities throughout the South. Florida, about 5 of them, or 4 of them, and 3 of them in Atlanta. So my thoughts were, if I could get the Atlanta facility to buy my intimate apparel, then inevitably all of the franchise would look at my product as a baseline for them to buy their costumes for their performances. That is the concept of putting all your eggs in one basket. Because the end game on that one is, that would be me thinking that every woman was the same. And I could outfit every body shape in the facility. Sometimes you can be naive enough to believe that even if you have sizes that will work for the most petite of body shape and the most voluptuous body shape, doesn't mean that every person will want to wear exactly what you have to offer. Now, luckily, I understood this, so therefore, my diversity and diverse product line allowed me to sell to everyone, no matter if you were in entertainment or you were just a lady that needed a particular undergarment. But it's interesting that there are people who would take that opportunity and say, well, if they've got numerous of clubs, then inevitably I could make X amount of dollars, and I'm going to just focus in on just this in hopes that it then meets my financial gains and roles that I need in order for me to pay for my staff and make a profit. That's the concept of putting all of your eggs in one basket. When you are doing your business, you need to consider the whole entire product line and the whole entire group of individuals who will enjoy your product. If you find yourself only appealing to a very small segment of the population, then you're going to have to think about how you could pivot to grow the business such that it has more than one leg. And I'll give you another example. For people who have retail stores or been in retail stores most recently, if you go to a store like Sephora, or I can use a gas station again. You go in for gas, but in front of you, don't you see potato chips, chewing gum, candy, lighters? What else is in front of you? 5-minute energy shots. You know what I'm saying. You go in there for gas, you come out with a little white plastic bag full of snacks. And if you go into like a Thornton's, you might come out there with a banana, a sandwich, a Frosty. I mean, they get you on the impulse. You go in for gas, you come out with other stuff. No, a better example of a diversified experience. You go to Costco for one thing, do you really come out with one? And the answer typically is no. And they're happy about that. They have you come through all their specials. You have the wonderful aroma of the little Polish sausage and the cheese pizza working. If you take a child, you're doomed because they're going to see the little toy area over there. And since there's no more toys for Toys R Us, so they're coming back, by the way, in a special boutique form for the holiday season. Just want to get that in there. But since there isn't any, the kids run over there and they got you. This is the business plan that you need to have even in your services. If you're good at DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion training, potentially you could also be very good at organizational development training to be able to decipher where people's heads are, to be able to help management be able to overcome what other issues they might exist that aren't diversity oriented. The fact that you have a tuned ear, you could actually pivot and offer more into more to your client, and therefore not putting all your eggs in one basket. And maybe that actually leads you to another type of client that you had not thought about. What I am trying to say in this slide is that high reliance on one area is not necessarily going to do you well to grow your business. Now, don't get me wrong. Chick-fil-A does chicken well, but if you look at that menu, they're as close to a fine dining takeout restaurant on chicken than there's anybody else, because they have more to offer than K-Fried, Church's, Popeyes, and Cane's, because they realize that chicken can be in a salad, chicken can be on a biscuit, chicken can be in a box, chicken can be in a taco, chicken can be in tortilla soup, chicken could be in chicken noodle soup. They figure this out. Wherever chicken can, the only thing that Chick-fil-A doesn't have a chicken in is in their shakes. And yeah, that'll be about right. So again, diversification is very key. Next slide. So there you go. Look at those beautiful eggs. That means that you, as a business owner, should be striving to have all these gorgeous eggs in your portfolio so that you can make a profit, so that you can do very well with your business. So I would like to challenge you. When you're doing your business, please research it. And oh, by the way, you need to research your business all the time. Your business and your business plan is an active, live document. It changes and pivots based upon what's going on in the industry. And if no one else understands that more than all of us now, is the difference between March 13th, 2020, and then the day after. You had to figure out how to pivot your business. You had to figure out how to educate yourself to be able to get your product to market. You had to figure out how to rely on teamwork. You had to figure out how to appropriately downsize without having it catastrophically make havoc through your whole entire business team. You had to determine how much risk you could take on and being able to stand firm on the results that you were looking for. But it's all based on the research, understanding what the trends, what the business model you have, how it stacks up to what's happening in the world right now and what people need. For instance, I feel so sorry for every dry cleaner, and because since we've all been at home, I know that everyone has been living off of jersey clothing. You have had sweatpants on, you've had on washable jeans, you've had on everything you can take right downstairs to your laundry room or down to your own washing machine in your home and snap it out and put it on the next day. What does that do for the poor dry cleaners? Because they really depended on corporate clothing. So I've seen more dry cleaners go out of business in the last 24 months than any major business that is in your community. And that's sad, because I do believe one day we're all going to go back in some state of form where we will all get a chance to put on all the suits and all the dresses we have had in our closet collecting dust for the last 24 months.
Yeah, just want to give it a good example of that is my favorite one is going back to Blockbuster Video. And I share this with the clients because one of the things we would do is on a Friday night, me and my mom, we would go to Blockbuster Video. We would pick our videos out or our DVDs out. And then, Blockbuster went away and they have Redbox. Now, Redbox is kind of going away, right? Because now we have all of our streaming services. Everybody has a streaming service, whether it's Disney Plus, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, everyone has that. So when you're thinking about that, research and market trends are really important because things are constantly changing. You can even think about Kodak, right? Where we have the wind-up cameras. There's wind-up cameras, but no one knows or uses them anymore. We have digital cameras, and now we don't even need digital cameras. We have our smartphones. So research is really, really important when you're talking about your business.
Thanks, Princess. And honestly, I was thinking about that too. I had my Polaroid out and I just put my cartridge in and I was pushing out a couple of pictures and I said, I remember when this was the thing, man. And you get your Polaroid out, fan it so then you can watch the picture come up. It was just such a great experience. Nowadays I'm cropping and shadowing and doing everything with my cell phone, trying to make sure that everything still looks bright and tight. There you go. So what we have done today is, Princess and I, is we just try to really give you to understand that it really does take a village to build a business. I mean, from a business counselor perspective, from you tapping into our SBDC, to your banker, to your attorney, to your business partners, to those individuals who help you dream, to your spouse, to your mom, to your dad, who will support you and be the first ones to purchase. It takes a village to bring a business to market. And it takes a village of other entrepreneurs to get together, to encourage each other to stay on task. Again, I can tell you, my father used to call me the gypsy because he didn't understand. So I'll give you a prime example. If you are part of the great, what they call them, the great generation, but these are individuals who were born in 1920 to 1956. This is a group of individuals who ended up going to work, and they were able to work for major organizations that would give them a pension and a gold watch. And I mean, they really took care of their employees. Not to say that our corporations now don't, but they don't in a way that they did for our parents. And so when I entered the workforce, my first job was at Motorola in 1981, 82. I stayed at Motorola for maybe 3 years. And then I went to another organization and I stayed there for about 4. And then from there, I was lured to another one. The point I'm making is that I had an opportunity to work, learn, demonstrate, but if I wanted to grow my career quickly and make exponential dollars, it was never to stay put, but it was to actually read the market of where the money was and follow the dollars and the ability to learn. When I explained to my dad that I was going from one job to the other job, he couldn't understand it because it was not his mindset. He literally retired from working in his job after 47 years. He was able to go to work and expect the same things, the increase in pay, the benefits, et cetera. All those things are beautiful, but that doesn't exist now because organizations can't afford to keep you that long. So you've had to really understand the trends of the business that you're in and be able to parlay it appropriately so that you then can grow yourself. Because here's the news, guys, you're a brand too. Just like you are going to have a brand with your business, you are the brand. Your integrity, your ability to get work done, your ability to focus, your ability to move forward is all about your brand. And that you pour into your business. And there are people who will not always understand your method of growing your business. But there's one group of people that tend to always get it, and that's entrepreneurs. Those who are willing to take the risk. Those who really understand that they're out there in the gray, trying to figure out how to make it black and white enough for clients and family members to really figure out if you have a viable product. So the village is not only the individuals who help stand up your business, but your village is also your family. But sometimes they don't always understand your plight, but rest assured, there are other entrepreneurs as well as our SBDC where you can actually call and talk to us and say, you know what, I'm not sure. And we are able to walk through that with you because we understand those pitfalls. So that's my shameless plug for YWCA. So I need to get that in there. So you should have peace of mind when you're doing your business. And if it costs you your peace of mind, then it's too expensive. Because as the young lady I explained to you that had the Oprah effect, literally had a nervous breakdown because of too much success coming too soon and not preparing for it, it's not worth that. But I have to say, if you're willing to understand that your ideas might not always be glamorous, but you've got to be able to balance them, that success will come to you, because as you choose between the glamorous and being successful, there is that sweet spot that makes it, that genuine progress will reside. And therefore, next slide, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And so I hope that some of the tips that we shared with you resonated with you understanding why it takes a village and how it takes a lot of lifting. This is not for the faint of heart, but if you're willing to take the challenge on, I believe and I stand that you will be successful, not only as a business owner, but as a better person. So with my shameless plug, I like to kind of say very quickly that if you would like more information to work with Princess and myself, our website, you can catch us at www.ywcachicago.org. You can also go get our email address, which is available to you. But I also want to let you know that we've got a couple of activities that are happening for entrepreneurs that if you're interested, please write them down. We're going to be participating with the City of Chicago with their Sundays on State. We will be highlighting entrepreneurial organizations and companies that we support within our SBDC and our Y Shop. And we'll be there on July 24th, August 7th, August 24th, and September 4th. And we will have a YWCA lounge. And I will be there, and a couple of other great people will be too, to answer any questions you might have about entrepreneurship and how the YW can support you. We have 2 accelerators coming up. One is in the health space, and we have a deadline of August 12th if you're interested in a pre-venture, so you're just starting your business and health space care. So if it's a device or a service, and you want to know how to put your business plan together and do a pitch, this is the accelerator for you. And if you're a well-established African-American female majority owner business that is ready to take their business to the next level, even thinking about franchising it, then Breed Love is for you. And applications are out on our website, and the deadline for that application is July 29th. And then Princess has one more to tell you about.
And then we have our event called Christmas in July. So Christmas in July is where we get our entrepreneurs as vendors in our community. It'll be 3517 West Arlington in Chicago, Illinois, and it'll be from 11 to 2:30, where you can come and shop our vendors. If you would like to become a vendor, the deadline is Friday. So please, please, please reach out to me if you would like to become a vendor, or stop by for some networking with our entrepreneurs. That will be great. And that date is July 29th as well. So please go to our website for more information, or you can email us as well. And
So,
with that,
yeah.
go ahead, Cheryl.
I was going to say, well, thank you for your time. We're really excited about doing this with you today. We were excited to be invited to do it. And we are ready for any questions you might have.
Okay, ladies, let's see. We don't have any questions.
Wow, that means we were pretty good. We were pretty thorough. Oh, okay. I guess we do have one question. Hi, Milton. So you said, what were the dates for the Sundays on State? We're going to be there July 24th, August 7th, August 21st, and September 4th. No, hi, Marcus. Marcus says, does it cost to help with business plans? No, there isn't. Thanks, Charles. I'm glad that you thought we were pretty good. You know, that's the fun part at the end, that if somebody actually thinks that we were really good, we get to get off the call and go, high five, we did it. So thank you so much for giving us some flowers today.
So Milton, yes, there is a YMCA, but we are the YWCA, and we are a social service enterprise.
Who is 146 years old, and we were the third YWCA to be actually put together in the United States of America. It first went to New York, then Boston, then Chicago. You're welcome, Janice. Thank you. I'm glad that you thought this was great information.
There's still time to get your questions in. It looks like the chat was disabled, and I do apologize for that. I don't know what is going on with Zoom, so just put your questions inside the Q&A box.
Can you post the dates for future events in the chat, please? Okay. Sure. Let's see.
It's on everyone.
Now chat. Should work.
So there's Sunday on state, and here's the deadline for Breedlove. Deadline for application is July 29th, and that's female.
Can you all see what's in the chat? I don't know if they can see it.
Yes, the chat is working now.
Okay, perfect.
Majority business owners. Matter. New new business accelerator with a health okay. Can you see, did you see?
Ask some questions.
Okay.
Let me see. Will you ladies be at King to King this Saturday? We're hosting a small business expo.
We will not.
No.
Like you got something popping up. Now they pop it up in both boxes. It's something in the chat, which is great.
We will not be at Kennedy King this Saturday, but again, if you would like to come see us, please send us an email or stop by on July 29th for our Christmas in July, and I would love to have a conversation with you.
Thank you so much. They're saying this was very informative. Now, some of these names I do recognize, and I know one in particular. He has a he wants to start his own business.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Seems
It
like
hasn't popped up in the chat, but maybe you missed it because it was there. Probably try and scroll up in the chat. Go back into the chat. It was if you're talking about the Sundays on State, that was posted at 4:12, like 3 minutes ago.
I'll put the website in the chat for everyone and our email. Is it all Hudson Jackson, Cheryl?
Yeah, C Hudson Jackson at YWCA Chicago.
Got it. I was like, I'm so used to just.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Still a bunch of thank yous. Nothing really. I mean, if there's no questions, that means you guys did a great job.
Awesome.
She still doesn't see it. So
so would it be okay if we had everyone's email and we can just do a group email and send them the information that they're asking for?
Are you, Princess, when you're posting, did you select everyone or you just have it to the host and the panelists?
The only thing mine says is host and panelists, host, and then Cheryl. I don't have everyone.
Your drop down box doesn't allow you to hit everyone?
No, it does not.
Okay, try it now. Let's see what happens.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me go back in. Nope.
It does not. So that's the reason why they're not getting everything. Yeah. So if there's so Stella, either you can provide.
Hold on, wait. Now try again.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Well, here we go. Let me just go up and snatch everything I put in there and just copy it and stick it in there. All right, here we go. That's to everyone. And I know, Princess, you're doing the same thing, right?
Yes.
I hope that, yep, okay, they said they got it.
Great, all right. I have to do a personal shout out because she had shared with me that she was on this call, but one of my interns that I had at HBO, her name is Alexis McDowell. She's a business and real estate attorney. Was a fantastic intern. She worked for me at HBO when I worked for HBO, the television HBO organization, and she was on this call. So it was really great to know that she was there, and I was laughing because I remember she was super smart. I knew she would go on and do some fantastic things. So I'm really glad that she was on the call. And last time I saw her, actually, because I ended up leaving HBO right after I had my last child. So I was just teasing her in there, and I said, do you know the last time I saw you is when I had Taylor, and Taylor's birthday is next Friday, and that was 25 years ago. So that shows you how long, and it's amazing how the universe still brings everybody back. So, Alexis, thank you for letting me know you're out there, and I wish you only the best. And look at you I remember you when you were in college. Now you're doing big baller stuff. So that's fantastic. So it's really nice too. And again, I love that everybody stayed with us. That was an hour worth of information, and it was a lot of it, but I'm so glad that you stayed with it and saw value. So thank you so much.
Well, I would like to thank Cheryl and Princess for today's webinar. I think you guys did an excellent job. I hope our attendees were able to get all of the information that they were looking for. We are hosting our first small business expo, in-person small business expo that we haven't had one in 2 years. It will be at King to King College this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's still time to register. Please go to chicago.gov/Biz Expo, BIZ Expo. Again, that's chicago.gov/Biz Expo. If you are a part of the Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. To learn about our upcoming webinars, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Again, thank you to Princess and Cheryl for today's webinar, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.